Get started already. Have a seat. Oh boy. James, you sit down. Do the tallest. The joke seat is going to collapse at some point. As soon as I press this button. All right, guys. Thank you very much for agreeing for this punishment. Coming up and being interviewed, and everybody can hear what you have to say. I want to start out, first of all, for the 2 or 3 people who haven't heard of you. Can you guys, one of you can explain, first of all, what is Read More Comix? And then tell us a little bit about the comic book that's come out. I'm going to give it to James.
It's Read More Comix is all about being super famous, being really well known. Like, everybody knows who we are. So if you don't know who we are, the important thing is to know that we want you to read more comics. They could be our comics. They could be somebody else's comics. We want everybody to read more comics.
Comics literacy.
Yeah. It's a literacy program, or it's a literacy campaign.
What the hell are you wearing? Here, give me that mic. James, you're a very nice man. I want to tell you, I like you very much. So Read More Comix is a collective. The 3 of you have come together, and it's a venue through which the 3 of you channel your energies collectively better than each on your own. Even though each on your own could do your own thing. Everybody knows that. There we go. There we go. See? Just getting it in there. So that's what Read More Comix is. It's a collective. I know that a lot of cartoonists, as we all do, come together and form collectives in order to provide a united front and pool their resources so they can put together a single book, spending less money than the 3 people would do individually.
You just described the comic jam. Like, that's what the comic jam is. It's
free.
A collective. It's like, well, there's more than 3. It's more than 3. But I totally interrupted you. Continue. But like, we're a collective of cartoonists working together tonight, right? Like, that's what the Toronto Comic Jam is. I think it's amazing. Okay, so have you put out a Toronto Comic Jam book every month for 20 years? Have you put it? Okay, but someone has. Someone has. I do think that's amazing.
Okay, so
I think that's really, really great.
Yeah.
And the Toronto Comic Jam has always been about print comics. About, like, I love coming to the Toronto Comic Jam every month, and I have a new comic to buy for $2, which is so cheap. It may have been expensive back in the 90s, I don't know, but it's that is a trip. And that's kind of what Read More Comix has become, is we just want to make a comic book twice a year. Twice a year. We were going to do it 4 times a year, but that was crazy. That was nuts. So twice a year.
that's fantastic. So you guys, did you meet here? Tell me that. Tell us about being here at the Comic Jam and how that's helped influence what you're doing now. Not you.
Okay, well, I met Dave at my job at the liquor store. He was wearing a Chester Brown t-shirt, so we started talking about comics. And then we traded websites, and I realized that I really liked his comics, so we started talking, and I lured him into the Comic Jam. And then one night, on a smoke break, if you will, I started talking to James about making comics like as a collective, you know, like trying to treat it like a band, but without all the instruments and drama. And because I'd been enough of those. And so we just this is a social drinking club where we just drink beer and make comics. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. I did not know James before that initial conversation we had. And we just sort of dragged Dave into the mix. Andy at the time. Andy's not here right now, but we love him still. He's no longer a part of Read More Comix, but shout out to him. You know, pour a little, I'm not going to pour any beer out, but you know, you would. He's not dead. He's not dead, guys. Anyways, it's just a way for us to make comics that we love, and we like making goofy comics. We started about a year ago, just over a year ago.
Started with a website.
Yeah, so we opened a Tumblr and a Twitter and said we're going to post a weekly comic each. Everyone was assigned a day. And if you missed your day, you had to buy a round of beers for everyone else, which we never really cashed in on. I'm still sober, guys. But yeah, so initially we just had like every week everyone posted comics, so we had like 3-4 comics coming up every week, and then we decided we were gonna make print comics, which were gonna be different than the web comics. And we don't really do the web comics so much. We post comics when we can, but our books are in the back. You can buy them, $5. There's 2 issues, yeah. Issue 2 came out at the end of October. Issue 3 is slated for TCAF. Whether or not we get into TCAF, we don't care. It's getting released regardless. We just might have a table to sell it at. We don't know. But it's been a labor of love and a lot of fun getting to know these guys. And just drinking.
What it is tonight is kind of what Read More Comics was too. It's like cartooning is so lonely. Drawing all by yourself, working on these comics, it's just like it'd be such a. And the Toronto Comic Jam was all about, for me, and I think for you guys too, it's like there's other people who are into this activity and we get to do it together and it's way more social. And you learn and you make connections and you're inspired. And so Read More Comics just basically became like a microcosm of that, or an extension of that, where like it was just more specific and we're just trying to make, well, like the Comic Jam, we're just trying to put out a regular printed book. Yeah, and regular content. It started, like Rob was saying, for like a bet where we'd owe each other a beer if we didn't draw a comic. So it's like an incentive to produce kind of thing. So that's what it started off as. And I think at its heart it's just fun to hang out with your buddies and draw comics, right? Like we're all doing tonight. And so that's like the kernel of Read More Comics.
Right on. So it's like the website, you put your single panel stuff up, shorter stuff. But now with the print, you can put up your longer stories, put those together. Right on, yeah. Expensive to buy. Very good price. $5? Cheap. That's fabulous. So the 3 of you have day jobs. Tell us about your day jobs that help pay the bills.
Jesus. I'm a dentist. I work for Toronto Public Health. I'm a full-time dentist, and as soon as it strikes 4 o'clock, then I'm a cartoonist.
I work for a company called Bitstrips. I work as an illustrator. It's like online illustration with like avatars and stuff. And when 6 o'clock strikes, or possibly 6:30, I'm a cartoonist.
Can you tell us a bit about
Sure. What would you like to know?
like when did you start? When did you get a job there?
Oh, okay.
So the questions are about Bitstrips. James works at Bitstrips. Bitstrips is done. Bitstrips is better not be. They were sold
Snapchat.
to Snapchat. So what Bitstrips was is an innovative comic strip creation format that was adopted by the Toronto School Board to help people with literacy. So it took off, and it was the brainchild of Jacob Blackstock and Dorian Baldwin. Yeah, please. And so it's I imagine there's not a lot of people that work for Bitstrips working creating art. There are avatars. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into Bitstrips, like what Bitstrips is, how long you've been there?
It's kind of a crazy long story. It's a pretty complicated company because it started out as an animated show, and then through a series of grants it became an interactive project, and out of that they built a comic builder, and then that became a comic template thing for Facebook where you would post yourself in a comic, and then that became a thing where you post yourself in a sticker in a chat program. And I joined to make the comic templates when it was on Facebook, and I've been working there ever since. And it's 3.5 years.
Okay. How long have you been in the Comic Jam?
Longer than that.
So when did you start coming to the Comic Jam?
I first came in 2009, and because I was going to OCAD at the time, and drawn lots of comics comics and wanted to meet other cartoonists and stuff. And but then started coming again more regularly in 2013.
Nice. Yeah.
How about you, Rob? When did you start coming to
I think I started coming to the Comic Jam at the end of 2012, right about the time when I said fuck everything else I was doing. I was going to take comics more seriously, and decided I wanted to meet other like-minded individuals.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been coming ever since, and I've grown a lot since. It took me 10 years to get here, but I'm here now, so I don't know, it's fun. It's nice to be social. It's like you put a bunch of introverts into a room together with some beer. I've made a few friends. I don't know about you guys. So
I swear, when it was about the same time as because Rob got me to come to the jam, and just when we met, he's like, "You gotta come to the Comic Jam." And it was when I started coming to the Comic Jam, it was David Bragdon was running. It was like right in David's heyday, right in the prime, and it was those books were so good, and just Dave was just such a stalwart. And like honestly, Dave, you held the jam on your shoulders for so long, and you shaped the book. And Dave started doing things like all of a sudden there was like a feature for like a jammer we'd get like an interview and some pages of the work, and it just added some depth to the book. It's like, oh, I really want to be featured. It took a couple years, Dave. I'm glad we made that book happen. You let me do that color cover. It was awesome. But like once I started coming to the jam, I was so hooked.
Kudos to Dave. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Dave, can you tell us about... questions.
Being a dentist, you draw teeth and
Hold on. The question is, does being a dentist help you draw teeth?
Yeah, no. Teeth are really hard to draw. It's like, unless there's a close-up, I just draw like a little band of like white, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. The tough thing is getting the scale as they kind of curve back into the mouth, and you know what I mean? It's like, mine end up looking like chiclets. My fillings look better. Honestly, my cartoon teeth are terrible.
Can you tell us a little bit about your animation background? Not just a dentist, you know.
I did work for Smiley Guy Studios for about like 10 years, and it's like James talks about bit strips, and Jacob used to work at Smiley Guys with me. We made Odd Job Jack, and that was awesome. I got to like design it. Yeah, that was us. Yeah, hey, all right, yeah. We had Don McKellar, and that was right after graduating dental school, and I took a leave of absence because I had Odd Job Jack, and so I did that for like about 8 years, and learned so much in the ways of cartooning and drawing, and it was great. It was wonderful. And then I had to leave the industry because it turns out I can only draw one way. And when that show got canceled, hey, I was done. It's like I got nothing else.
Well, that's fantastic. So the three of you they've got a lot of depth, obviously, and chops that you've built, been around for a long time. So tell me then now, what are you thinking about now for Read More Comics? What's the next thing? You're going to keep up with the website, and you're going to keep up with the prints coming out twice a year?
Twice a year.
New book for May. I don't know what's going to be in it yet because we haven't started, but new book in May, hopefully for TCAF. Aside from that, we've got little projects on the go every once in a while. I don't know, we've got other minis going on. Tiny comics, like just random things. I don't think I'm the one to be talking about Ha, and it's not Ha Comics, it's Ha.
His face is
No, it's Ha. There's no comics, drop the comics. Anyways, since always.
Just now.
It's always been just Ha. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not sure. We were talking about starting a Facebook page to promote other people's comics, because Read More Comics is about reading more comics. It's not just about reading our comics, because we're just 3 people, and that's boring.
Support, get the community of a community of cartoonists to make comics.
We know a lot of really great cartoonists, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be known to everybody else. So.
So you're talking about a Facebook?
Yeah, I'm talking about whatever.
Are you talking about a Facebook page where you're going to list comics you like, other people's comics?
Yeah, like a recommendation page.
So can you give me?
We're gonna put in the print book, but you didn't have to.
Obviously, yeah. Better, more comics. You can put that stuff online, and you're going to get probably a lot more. So tell me then. Speaking of which, now this leads us easily into our next question. Tell me 3 cartoonists that influenced you in the past, and 3 cartoonists that you're reading right now.
So I'm going to speak for the group because it was all Mad Magazine. Like all of us, we sort of really bonded over our love of Mad Mag. And that's kind of what Read More Comics seems like in some ways. It's like a loose anthology of just unconnected stuff. Zap. I'm going to say personally for my big picks, I love Chris Ware, I love Art Spiegelman. And stuff I'm reading right now, I love like, oh Jesus, I don't Michael DeForge, I'm digging at the moment, and whatever. Like I love Adventure Time.
Let's see.
Yeah, we all chose your stuff.
So, like Mad Magazine, like Dave said, for the formation.
What did you read as a kid?
You know, Marvel shitty comics, Calvin and Hobbes. I got into hate comics when I was a teenager, and that Peter Bagg, that really blew the doors wide open. I'm a big fan of Big Daddy Roth and Ratfink, all that illustration. Art Crom is probably the most influential on me. Just you're fired. Right now, I'm reading a lot of Noah Van Sciver. I'm reading a lot of Anya Davidson. Oh man, there's so many comics. I don't even fucking know. There's some autobio. It's not all autobio. There's too many great cartoonists right now.
So, is there do you like autobio?
Oh, I love autobio. I make a lot of autobio. I just don't publish so much of them.
Could that be
It's
something?
good to just get out of your system.
Is that something where Read More Comics could go? Maybe an autobio?
Read More Comics, the pages in that book are open to suggestion. So whatever is written is what's going in them. There's no one really editing anything. It's like whatever you feel like putting in is what you're putting in the next
Another
issue.
question from the floor.
That's me.
I basically specialize in inanimate object comics. So yeah, brick. Yeah, it's like whatever.
James, what do you?
You don't want to leave me out on that gotcha question. Definitely when I was a kid, Archie comics were, just like spent many a summer just reading those comics nonstop.
You're happy to get the page.
Yeah, very happy, absolutely.
He's putting it up in.
It's it's all of ours now.
Read More Comics.
What are you reading now? What am I reading now? Charles Forsman and Oily Comics doing some really cool, like, stuff on a subscription basis. I think that's like really exciting. Doing short stories in small pieces. That's a lot of fun. Has anyone mentioned Simon Hanselman?
Oh yeah, mention Simon.
He's a big influence on us too.
Oh yeah.
Gotta check out Simon Hanselman and like Meg Mog and Owl.
Yeah, totally.
These
So good.
wild characters telling.
Dan Clouds.
Dan Clouds is a big influence for all of us.
Have you thought of doing stuff outside of Read More Comics?
We thought of doing stuff outside of Read More Comics. Everything that we would do would be part of Read More Comics.
So, like, say you wanted to do your own 20-page piece.
It just says at the top, presented by Read More Comics. And then you just do whatever you want.
Torn from the pages.
There you go. We've got Dave Comics, we've got what are mine called?
Life in that parole.
Life of the Parole Comics.
My comics.
He's a leader.
Very loose organization.
It's true, it's true. Like, kind of what's great about comics too, and I love Read More Comics, is like, I used to just draw single panel comics all the time. Sometimes a 4-panel comic. But never, with Read More Comics, I'm drawing like maybe a page, maybe 2 pages. Like, I'm gonna maybe try like a 3-page comic, I don't know, but so it's sort of, there's so many different forms to comics. I love it all. Like, I love strips, I love a 4-panel, I love the 1 panel is kind of my favorite, but I just love trying all of them.
Yeah, I remember just talking about sharing your identity of Read More Comics, presented by Read More Comics, reminds me of Jim Monroe's No Media Kings, where he had put together this whole sort of back industry where you could use his logo if you wanted and self-publish, yet there's a lot of attention to No Media Kings, so you could share in on that and you would be a part of sort of that roster, but you know, it's entirely up to you. You're still self-promoting, so I can see how it was very great sort of indie incubator. So I can see how Read More Comics can be sort of a unifying identity. So if you put out something that's got Read More Comics on it, the other two of you benefit, because if you put out something, there you go.
You really said it. I think that's the whole strength. It's like, I want Read More Comics to, like, I don't know, we could just be like a publisher, a label. Like, we have these ideas, we have our core books we put out, and each of us every year, it's flexible, we'll have another idea for another book. And so, yeah, just, you know, yeah, the sky's the limit.
So that's a great sort of a template to steal. Just kidding.
Steal more comics.
Steal more comics. All right.
If anybody wants to steal the template, just talk to me after the interview. I'll give you all the files.
Oh, no, it's gonna.
What about we'll kind of do a little bit of boring stuff. Where do you get your supplies? What do you use?
Lots of markers, lots of correction fluid, lots of going up to like Curry's and getting like brush pens and like microns and stuff like that.
I use a lot of microns, and then my Pentel pocket brush, and then digital coloring, which I'm not crazy about, but I'm fucking colorblind, so like, give me a break.
Yeah, man. Microns, Pentel brush pen, digital coloring. Which I am crazy about, because digital coloring fucking rocks.
I didn't. My coloring is all. I can't do Photoshop, so I use Copic markers. Copic markers for all my coloring.
And there's no digital lettering in any of our books. We don't like that.
Yeah, Sarah, yeah.
It looks like shit. Stop using it.
Garbage.
Watch it now. Watch it. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say to anybody? There's any questions you guys would like to ask these guys?
What's your favorite comic?
Wow. I'll say Jimmy Corrigan, Chris Ware.
Yeah.
That works. But no one fucking knows that.
Neat stuff.
You guys are gonna hate me. And you guys are gonna hate me.
We're already fired.
He's giving the files away.
Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. Fucking love that book. I don't care what any of you motherfuckers say. It's fucking awesome. He's like so enamored with all the possibilities of what comics can be, and all this shit is like so mind-blowing. I read it when I was 14. I love it.
All you have to do is read more comics to learn about more comics, so don't bother.
Hey, what's your favorite comic?
Black Hole by Charles.
Yeah, so it's awesome. Charles
All right. Closing comments. It feels all kind of like the wrong comics.
We got books at the back. They're $5 a piece. Feel free to spend your money on us.
I got 2 things to say to everybody. Number 1, definitely make sure you're making lots of comics and printing lots of comics because it's so much fun. And number 2, make sure you're talking to other people at the gym. It makes the environment so cool. And like, we were talking recently about what made the gym so good. And Dave, not to like really rag on David bragging on about how great he's made the gym, but creating this atmosphere of like just having a really good social environment while we make comics, it's so good, and it's what makes the jam the best. So
Totally agree with James. It's all about the community, you know. Whenever I go to events like to Canzine or TCAF or any comic event, it's the sense of community I love so much. And everyone supports each other. And we all learn from each other, and our comics get better, and we're inspired to draw more comics. Because then we can read more comics.
All right, thank you very much, David Craig,
yeah, I don't see
Robb Mirsky, James Spencer. The brand new Comic Jam book has got an article with these three gentlemen in it. Please go and read it. Thank you very much.
Well done.